Bhagwan Shri Yogi Ramsuratkumar ki jai. Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Jaya Guru Raya.
Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Jaya Guru Raya.
Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Jaya Guru Raya.
Yogi
Ramsuratkumara,
Yogi Ramsuratkumara,
Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Jaya Guru Raya. Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Jaya Guru Raya.
Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Jaya Guru Raya.
Rama 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 Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Jaya Guru Raya.
Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Jaya Guru Raya.
Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Ram Suratkumara, Yogi Ram Suratkumara, Jaya Guru Raya.
Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Yogi Ramsuratkumara,
Yogi Ram Suratkumara, Ramsuratkumara Jaya Guru Raya.
Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Jaya
Rama 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 Yogi Ramsuratkumara Yogi Ramsuratkumara Yogi Ramsuratkumara Jaya Guru Raya.
Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Jaya
Yogi Ramsuratkumara Yogi Ramsuratkumara Yogi Ramsuratkumara Jaya Guru Raya.
Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Yogi Ramsuratkumara,
Rama 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 Yogi Ramsuratkumara Yogi Ramsuratkumara Yogi Ramsuratkumara Jaya Guru Raya.
Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Jaya
Yogi Ramsuratkumara Rama Rama Ram. Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar Ram Suratkumara, Yogi Ram Suratkumara, Jaya Guru Raya.
Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Yogi Ramsuratkumara,
Jaya Guru Raya. Yogi Ram Suratkumara, Yogi Ram Suratkumara, Ramsuratkumara, Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Jaya Guru Raya.
Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Yogi Ramsuratkumara,
Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Yogi Ramsuratkumara, Rama 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 Yogi Ramsuratkumara Yogi Ramsuratkumara Yogi Ramsuratkumara Jaya Guru Raya Yogi Jaya Guru Raya Yogi Ramsuratkumara Yogi Ramsuratkumara Yogi Ramsuratkumara Jaya Guru Raya Raya Rama 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 Yogi Ramsuratkumara Yogi Ramsuratkumara Yogi Ramsuratkumara Jaya Guru Raya Ramsuratkumara Yogi Ramsuratkumara Jaya Guru Raya Yogi Ramsuratkumara Yogi Ramsuratkumara Yogi Ramsuratkumara Jaya Guru Raya Yogi Ramsuratkumara Yogi Ramsuratkumara Jaya Guru Raya Rama 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 Yogi Ramsuratkumara Yogi Ramsuratkumara Yogi Ramsuratkumara Jaya Guru Raya Yogi Ramsuratkumara Yogi Ramsuratkumara Yogi Ramsuratkumara Jaya Guru Raya Rama 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 Bhagwan Shri Yogi Ramsuratkumar ki jai. Sarvam Yogi Ramsuratkumar Arpanamastu. It is our grateful pranams, deeply grateful pranams to the lotus feet of Bhagwan for this gracious blessing that he gives every day, that we are able to gather here in his powerful shrine and see his powerful Nama. This Nama, this Nama's glory is something that we have been seeing in various experiences of devotees. Yesterday, there were some 4 people from Bangalore, 4 ladies. And they had, one of them, that is, had a wonderful story to share with us, a true story. She said that she came to hear about Bhagwan from the writings about him, and then she began to feel a deep love for him. But that was about all. She did not worship him, nor did she chant his name on any account. It was 2005 that her husband passed away. She was all alone, and her husband's sister, her sister-in-law, she came to stay with her, and only the 2 of them were running their life alone in an apartment in Chennai. Now one day, it was the time this chikungunya was spreading fast, was doing a lot of havoc everywhere. And her sister-in-law got it. She began to suffer to the extent that at one point she lost her consciousness. It was night time, and her name is Gita Moorthy. Gita Moorthy said that she began to feel very bad about the whole situation. There was no one at all to help them. There were 2 ladies living alone in an apartment, and there were no tenants downstairs. And her sister-in-law began to suffer so much. And when she lost consciousness, it's not exactly that she lost it, but she was sinking slowly, and Gita Moorthy felt an acute need to see a doctor immediately. Somehow she managed to walk her sister-in-law down the steps. Luckily, by the grace of God, doctor was staying nearby and they could rush to him. And then of course he prescribed some medicines for Gita Moorthy's sister-in-law. She managed to bring her back to her first floor apartment, and then she made her lie down. Now she had to give medicine. She told her sister-in-law, okay, you just lie down. I have to give you some food and then only the medicine. Her sister-in-law had closed her eyes and Gita Moorthy rushed to the kitchen to get the cooker ready. After she placed it on the stove, she came back and then she said, in a few minutes, this gruel will be ready and then I'll give you that with the medicine. But then there was no answer from her sister-in-law. Instead, there was a strange sound coming from her throat. Now it was very alarming and Gita Moorthy did not know what to do. Intuitively she felt something was going wrong. But then she was absolutely helpless. Her soul was crying out for help, not that she was chanting any Nama or anything. Her sister-in-law also had written lakhs and lakhs of Ram Naam. But then, on that particular day, she was sinking slowly, and it seemed to Gita Moorthy it was only a few minutes more for her sister-in-law. Again, she felt very lonely and helpless, and she was running here and there, absolutely agitated, agonized. She was looking for help, but then there was nobody around. And in the meantime, the cooker started to whistle. But then she felt the need to be near her sister-in-law, and she knew that something very, very wrong was happening to her. And again she ran, desperately, to look around, to look out of the balcony to see if anybody, any human being was coming that way so that she could scream for help. She looked and there was nobody, and then she turned again in desperation. And suddenly she found somebody sitting there near the door. She almost passed him by, and then suddenly it struck her that somebody was seated there, and she looked, and what did she see? Who did she see? She saw someone with a green turban and dirty clothes. His legs were stretched out. He was leaning on the door. She had not seen him except in dreams. But it struck her, this must be Yogi Ramsuratkumar with the green turban and the dirty clothes. But why? He is sitting there. She just couldn't believe her eyes. She began to sweat profusely. She was already trembling at the sight of Yogi Ramsuratkumar seated there. Remember, this is happening in 2005. Bhagwan attained Samadhi in 2001. Now she saw him. She told me yesterday that she saw him just as she was seeing me. She could see the whole of him very clearly. And when she looked again, he raised his hand in benediction and said, "Don't worry. There need be no fear. She will be all right." What an assurance. What grace. She just couldn't believe that this was happening. At the same time, whistle after whistle. Just see how strange things were. When Yogi Ramsuratkumar was sitting there in person, giving us such huge grace, the whistle should arise from the kitchen. And suddenly her attention was drawn to that, and she thought she would rush to the kitchen and switch off and come. She ran inside, switched off and came out, but Yogi Ramsuratkumar was not there. Just seconds before, he was seated there with the legs stretched out and his hand raised in benediction, and he pronounced the words, "No need to fear, she will be all right." And now the place was empty and there was no trace of him anywhere. Suddenly, she knew that it was true, that he had really, truly come there and blessed, because she always felt such deep prema for him, such deep, deep love. She said the next 3 days there was such improvement in her sister-in-law that on the 4th day she began to walk. Her sister-in-law was sinking slowly, and she thought that she was dying and that Yogi Ramsuratkumar should appear all of a sudden there without her calling out the name and give this huge blessing. She says, "I do not know how this happened and why this happened, because she was not a devotee of Yogi Ramsuratkumar. She never did any japa of his name, and yet she had a very deep love for him." And she says that even the day on which he attained Mahasamadhi, the previous night he came in a dream and blessed her. And this was the second time, 2005, that she saw him fully, vibrantly alive, seated there right in front of her with his hand in benediction. And then she added one more experience. She said the door number of her Chennai apartment was 216, and afterwards they shifted to Bangalore. And it happened that the house that they had in Bangalore, they still have, the door number is 216. 216 in Chennai, and again in Bangalore, the door number was mysteriously, strangely, the same number, 216, without her asking for it. It just happened. And then one day, in her dream, Yogi Ramsuratkumar appeared and said, "Gita, this beggar would like you to chant Arunachala Shiva Arunachala Shiva Arunachala Shiva ArunaJata," and disappeared. And he also said in the dream, "You should chant 216 times every day without fail." And Gita Moorthy said that ever since she has been doing that every day, she would not miss a japa of Arunachala Shiva. And she said, strangely, it ended as Aruna-Jata. I said, that is truly his mantra. Bhagwan said, when the mantra is here in Tiruvannamalai generally, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Aruna-Shiva. But Bhagwan picked up Aruna-Jata, and then he described how way back, some 30-40 years before, Paramacharya, Kanchi Paramacharya visited Tiruvannamalai, and he was going round the mountain with his devotees. And Paramacharya was leading the crowd, and he was singing Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, ArunaJata, which was the first time that Swami heard. And then he joined the followers, he joined the crowd, he was at the back of the crowd, and he also started to chant. So Paramacharya was leading, and all the others were chanting behind him, and the whole mountain path, they were chanting and chanting this mantra. And ever since, Yogi Ji was chanting only Arunachala Shiva ArunaJata, whenever he chanted the name of Shiva. And then Bhagwan described it all to me, saying that he picked up this Aruna-Jata only from Kanchi Paramacharya. And then I asked him that many people are asking me now, why this Aruna-Jata? Aruna means red. Jata is the hair, the matted hair of Lord Shiva. Why is it matted? Because Lord Shiva is always in deep meditation. He is in deep samadhi. And his hair, naturally without oil, it would turn red. And this hair of Lord Shiva is not only the matted red hair, it is also Aruna-Jata. The subtle meaning is, it is the fire. Fire is also red in color. So he was wearing the fire of knowledge as his jata. This is what I learnt from Bhagwan. Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Aruna-Achala. Aruna is red. And Parvati's color is red. And Achala is the mountain, the Lord Shiva, who doesn't move at all, who is in deep samadhi, and therefore there is no movement at all. So Aruna-Achala, it is a fire mountain. We know that in the Puranic times, Lord Shiva appeared as a huge column of fire. And the fire was red in color. And then it solidified slowly from gold to copper and then to the stone. Now today we have the stone mountain. Thanks to God, otherwise the mountain wouldn't be there. Be it copper or gold, you know what people would have done to that. Now this is the jata, the hair, the red-haired Lord Shiva, who is ever in deep meditation, in the state of his pure awareness, Achala. And it is here on the peak of the mountain, Lord Shiva accepted his consort, Parvati Devi, as his left half, Ardhanarishwara. He appeared as Ardhanarishwara to all the devotees. So it is Arunachala Shiva. And it is Aruna-Jata, as Bhagwan explained, it is Shiva who is wearing the fire of knowledge as his red matted hair. So I was very surprised when I heard from Gita Moorthy that Bhagwan prescribed Aruna-Jata, because it's not sung that way anywhere else except in Bhagwan's ashram. And it is true that he gave it to her because it's got to be Aruna-Jata. So let us remember, all the time we have been sharing experiences of how Bhagwan came to the rescue of the devotees with help, guidance and protection. And this is one of the instances where Bhagwan appeared in his form, familiar to all of us, without being called. She did not call out to Yogi Ramsuratkumar. It is just that she was screaming soulfully, and Bhagwan, who resides as the soul of all creatures, heard it and rushed to help immediately. And of course, it's also because of her sister-in-law who wrote lakhs and lakhs of Ram Naam. What a strange, true story. So Bhagwan could appear in any form. Sometimes we call his name, and there are people who have pure love for him, and they may not worship him. Whatever it is, japa is tapas. But when you have prema, that pure love for him, love for love's sake, not for anything else, then also he appears and helps. Now we shall offer our today's prayer at the lotus feet of Bhagwan, with faith that any prayer submitted at his lotus feet in this powerful shrine has got to be realized one day or the other, and let's hope it is sooner than later. Bhagwan, we beg you again and again and again, million times, koti times, for your immediate divine intervention to bring forth a dharmic normalcy to the world in all aspects of life. Why do I say normalcy? Because the world as it is today, there is so much violence and growing enmity between people and people, countries and countries. There is no understanding. Everything is met with violence. And there is war already going on with all its consequences, atrocious consequences. And now there is also the attack of new diseases. Not to mention the furies of nature, the flash floods, forest fire, sudden earthquakes. Only Bhagwan, who often declared to me and to other few devotees that he is the cosmic controller, that he runs the whole cosmos. Bhagwan, only you can bring about peace, harmony, order, and growing friendship and mutual help with control of diseases and nature. We also beg you to uproot all the negativities of the human mind that are responsible for today's violence. We also beg you to reach out to all those people, wretched people who have been stranded in varied places of the world for some reason or the other, unable to get help or protection. We beg you again and again and again to reach out and do the needful. We also beg you, for the sake of those unselfish people who have been serving you in all forms of deity, without any expectations, with love, please protect them from harsh criticisms that put blocks in their constructive work, from aspersion. We also beg you to promote the economy of the country and to help the growth of India in varied fields of activity, which include all sciences and all arts, that it reaches that peak state, its heights, so that it becomes Vishwaguru, the world teacher, as you have predicted, as many Mahatmas have predicted already, so that it could lead the whole world in the path of Dharma once again. We beg you again, pray to you in all earnestness and sincerity to bless us for ceaseless chanting of your powerful name and unbroken remembrance of your Leelas and teachings. We also beg you to bless us to be sattvic instruments in your hands. Please bless us to run our everyday life as an offering to you. And give us that bestowal of grace that would enable us not to be caught by the temptations of Maya. We also seek that ultimate state of being, the ultimate state of bliss and peace, for which we need your supreme blessing. We need to be purified. We take refuge in your powerful name, in ceaseless chanting of your powerful name, and joyful service without any competition, unhealthy competition or jealousy, in the spirit of service to you, and the practice of acceptance of whatever life brings to us as a definite blessing coming from you for our greater good and closer kinship with you. When our mind is purified, we will be able to see your living, vibrant, pulsating presence everywhere in everything. And we would also know that it is your sankalpa, your will, that's behind all the happenings of life. And Bhagwan, more importantly than anything else, please bless us to detect that hidden grace that you have put even in the adversities of life, the most disastrous sufferings of life. Though we try to move away, resenting that you have let us down, and we put the blame on everyone else for our own failure, you, out of your generosity and love, would keep us at your feet and convert all our sufferings into great blessings. Please bless us to be grateful to you even for the adversities of life. We seek your blessings for all the species of the cosmos, in whatever state of misery they are, to be lifted to a higher plane. And finally, we seek dissolution of our ego, which is responsible for the cycle of births and deaths. We want to be free from the deadly grip of the ego, the I and mine, that rule all our lives. To be free from the vicious cycle of births and deaths, so that we be blessed with the eternal living and eternal servitude to you, that supreme eternal power. Jai Yogi Ramsuratkumar.